program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
It's hot in Vietnam, often hotter than the Mojave Desert. The temperature rises to 120 degrees, and the humidity hovers around 85%. You collapse from heat exhaustion.
Okay, let's go then. You won't slow it up now. That cello looks like take it easy now. Your motor back is on its way in.
In a few hours' time. In a day's time. The troops carry 6 canteens of water, and a new man should take about 10 salt tablets a day.
You don't have no radio?
The northern part of South Vietnam, west of Chu Lai, about halfway to the Laotian border. That was farther west than the 101st Airborne Brigade had ever operated. The Viet Cong had controlled the area for 15 years. We were beginning a new combat operation. I was with Platoon Sergeant Louis B. Larry. Born and raised in Mississippi, a high school dropout, he joined the Army 12 years ago. Often the lives of up to 40 men are in his hands. Sergeant Larry is always keenly attuned to the mood of his men. He knows a recruit will be afraid his first time under fire. He told me,
this is only normal for a man to be scared. But if we keep him back in the rear of the squad until the first firefight or the second firefight, and then he's got confidence in himself that he can do just as well as the next man can. I try to make the guy feel like he's just with a bunch of guys who want to survive, and they're going to have to work together. And after 3 or 4 missions, and he'll start to work with the people, he'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, to where that this guy has got more pride and more guts than 25 people like him in the States.
First platoon is going to remain back here in the CP, right here. The perimeter set up here. Now, when these 3 platoons move out, 2 men per position. We're going to make that 3 men per position. We'll drop down, and I will show you what positions you're going to occupy in the perimeter. Because we're going to receive supplies in here.
for this report, the fact that Larry is a Negro is of paramount importance. To the officers and men he serves with, it's a matter of total irrelevance.
We might stay here tonight, we might not, so don't...
Larry knows them well.
Sergeant Wilson joined the platoon sometime during August. After he got over the first rough steps or two, he was okay. Sergeant Wilson is a go-getter. He likes to move. He likes to move a little fast at times. This one kid, Arkansas. Well, I can tell right away when something's wrong with him. Because if he's not talking, something's bothering him.
I will be moving on.
Jim Hawkins is fire team leader in the 3rd Squad. Hawkins, I know personally. I don't know, the way he talks and the way I talk. It just seems like we have something in common. For where I live now and where Hawkins lived in Chicago,
100 rounds of ammo.
It's just about hauling distance.
Any questions on this?
We picked up Lieutenant Wilkinson as a forward observer for the company. And there's no telling when you're going to hit Charlie and actually need artillery, so he's going to have to be on his toes. He's not afraid of it. And he can bring that stuff in so doggone close and make your hair rise up on your head. I've only had the one platoon leader since I've been here, and that's Lieutenant Unger. Lieutenant Unger, he understands a basic problem of the individual, which is, I think, is more important than knowing all it is to know. He'll listen to all the problems.
This is 6, Roger. They should be in at about 03. As soon as they join up with you, give me a call, let me know, and I'll have instructions for you. Outbreak 466, over.
Captain Matarutas, he's the company commander. He's real sharp with words. And if you screw up, you can expect to be nailed by it.
466, how many packs do you have on that ship didn't make it, over? Have you made contact with 2nd Squad? Sir? As usual. You want to start tying in right in here? As usual, box, yeah. Down here. First squad. Have the whole first squad to come on down. Excuse me.
Hawkins, the white boy from Chicago, had observed Larry's manner of commanding his men. Hawkins said,
he doesn't just come up and tell you to do something that he wouldn't do himself. He'll sort of ask you to do something where, in a sense, he's asking you to do it and telling you to do it and making you want to do it.
Arkansas is a Southern white serving under a Negro.
He's never up there jumping onto you because you've done something wrong. He'll tell you what you've done wrong and how to correct it. He's never on your back about it. And that's one reason, I guess, the men like him so well.
In civilian life, it's still rare for whites to take orders from Negroes, particularly in the South. Captain Mavruta said,
There are Southern boys in Sergeant Larry's platoon that possibly in civilian walks of life would resent working for a Negro. But when we're out in the field, which is almost all the time, people go beyond the color barrier. The thing that they're worried about is that somebody is leading them who knows what he's doing and who's going to get him through these tight situations.
Arkansas.
It doesn't seem to bother anyone to take orders from him. No one in the field, they don't think anything about it. I've never heard a slang thrown at him because he is a Negro race. Damn snapper out there.
You might keep your eyes peeled in that direction and see if he fired again, and we might be able to pick his location up also.
We'd been moving toward a village, a cluster of peasant shacks or hooches. We were drawing sniper fire from the Viet Cong. This is what creates a bond between men, shared danger and dependence. And this.
Johnson out here.
Lieutenant Wilkinson, the young Negro officer, said,
I'm out here with everybody else, colored in white, and just the other day, we had so many casualties. And nobody said, well, we had one colored and we had five whites. I mean, they were all casualties.
Hang on for a few more minutes. That chopper will be here. Hey, Sergeant Jones. Do about face with your element. Hold it up and wait till I move ahead of the column, and then we'll continue to move.
You might have to carry him down.
this trooper was a casualty of the sun. The air gets furnace hot and seems to scorch your lungs when you breathe.
They just returned to this location. I'm sending them back up to police up those ruts. And, we're going to remain down here. We got this minute back there. They should be re-entering your perimeter in about 03. That 261 steps up.
Tipsy dog. Want to sit down? Keep it up.
No, thank you, sir.
Drink water, something?
Just taking a breath.
Okay.
You feel better walking than you do somebody carrying you? Okay, come on with me.
Want me to go down there with him and get the pass out?
Sergeant O'Leary speaking. Go right over here. Sergeant O'Leary should be waiting for you right over there. Go down there and take a right.
This is Zorba, the 1-6 element and the Charlie Papa, over. Now, we got one PW that we wounded. We're still looking, beating through the bush. We estimate there were 3 to 5 of them, over. Hey, Doc, patch him up.
What'd you say, Phil?
The other one had gray cast.
The doc who patched up the wounded enemy prisoner was a medic named Steve Vargo. It was also Vargo who shot him.
Really, this is Zorba.
I got him.
Didn't have a weapon?
Relay, this
That's the one who's carrying ammo.
This guy's a local force type. He claims there were 30 NVA with him, and when you people opened up on him, they DD'd downhill.
Captain Mavroudis is of Greek descent. Therefore, they gave him the radio code name Zorba. He didn't like it.
Be careful, though. If there are 30 of them out there and you make contact, you'll have a fight on your hands, over.
The sub-element well spread out and advance on that trail east to where you're directly above the last group of hooches there that's in that little draw, and I'll check those and then join you back up on the trail, over.
While Larry would rather persuade his men than compel their obedience, he's no Boy Scout leader. Wilson, a tough sergeant himself, said of Larry,
he doesn't particularly talk a lot, but he says a lot. And he goes back to this, just a few key words. Example, he'll say, gentlemen, why do you cause yourself undue harassment? The holes must be dug deeper. Why didn't you do it the first time? But well, he can be just as rough as he has to be.
If a man screw up, it's not going to hurt him for you to chew him out. Let him know he's doing things wrong. All you have to do is suggest the improvement in the weakness, and usually the individual will comply. Everybody is willing to do what is right because it might save somebody's life.
the trails are narrow, often no more than a foot wide, and covered overhead by jungle brush. Rarely could we see more than a few yards in any direction. There are many forks and the trails turn abruptly. That's why the point man, the trooper at the head of the column, must be exceptionally alert. They told me the point man had better be alive or he'll be dead. Our point man killed this young Viet Cong. Someone had placed a cigarette between his lips. This, I was told, had become a unit tradition. Until now, there's been a belief Negro soldiers lacked courage. Lieutenant Unger said,
on the subject of the courage of the Negro soldier, there's been a lot written that they did not measure up to the courage commonly found in the white soldier. I've seen quite a number of situations where both white and Negro had a chance to display courage and had a chance to display cowardice. And I think you get just as many white cowards as you get black cowards, and you get just as many black heroes as you get white heroes.
Charlie heard us coming as quiet as we came down through the field, DD'd out of the area. Check that trail down through there and see how far that one goes down. Mac, just stick your head up that one over there and see if that trail goes up. The trail, that's no trail? Okay. No, continue on down here to that creek and rejoin Sergeant Wilson them over there. But no hoochers out there, huh?
More footprints. So what's the same ones as these either?
Okay. We're going to turn around and take off back down there where Sergeant Wilson is. Go ahead and lead out down and back down there.
frequently, but not always, the peasant hooches are burned. The rationale? Destroy the enemy's home. Farm animals are slaughtered. The rationale? Deny the enemy food. Definition of enemy. Anyone out there but us.
When he left the point over there, they spotted him coming across, but he was too far for them to fire. That's the reason why I'm immediately taking the second squad and trying to cut him off here. But then the tracks that we found in the stream indicate that there was somebody going down this way in the stream. So maybe there's three of them. We'll find it.
Being a platoon sergeant, when you're moving, you have an opportunity to observe each man. And you can tell right away, I can, by watching each one of them close, I can tell if he's normal. And if he's a little bit on the shaky side, I pull him off. Well, he shouldn't be in the spot of the column that he is. He should be pulled back a little bit. If he's a little bit shaky that day, then I'll pull him back, put him in the rear of the column behind me.
The officers above Larry and the men beneath him have seen him under fire. There is no more severe test of a man. At such a time, buried racial antagonisms might surface. I was anxious to learn what his officers and men thought of Larry under fire.
Tell Pennington to bring his fire team on over here.
He's never lost his cool, and I don't think he ever will. And the troops know that no matter what the situation is, he'll come through and he'll get them out of a tight spot in such a way that the people won't get hurt unnecessarily.
Who's that shooting?
We had two Charlies trapped in caves. The troops call them spider holes.
Come out!
when we are receiving fire, well, Sergeant Larry, he's right up pumping lead along with the rest of us and giving us orders, and, well, he ain't going to stand back in the rear and just direct the fire.
Grenade. Don't everybody bunch up on it at one time. Okay, machine gun, move up. Right over here. Watch it, grenade, get down. Hey, Sam, drop down a little further over there. The machine gun's got to stay in place. Stay down there around the CP and guard the CP. Take your time and try to toss it right in there. Don't expose yourself too long. Get all the way down. Grenade, hit the ground. All right, that was a good one. That one was dead in there. Hey, machine gun, pull back. Hey, sir? Yeah. Stratmore came all up in there where you are. If it doesn't go in that hole. Hey, hold up for that grenade. Grenade. Hey, don't throw any more grenades in there. That's enough to kill a damn horse. That sounds like it's the wrong way out. Hit him. Give him a little time, he'll bleed to death. If he's here, I know damn well he's hit. Hey, Scott, get back out the way. Johnson is going in there with a pistol. Be careful, Johnson. LeClaire. Get right down here behind this thing here. Okay, we're clear on this side. Yeah.
My feelings became mixed. There'd been a lot of us against only two of them. But when your life is at stake, you want the odds in your favor. Still, they were dead, and unknown people in some unknown village would weep. During the firefight, I learned a lieutenant who'd loaned me his hammock only 3 nights before had been severely wounded in another fight about 1,000 yards away. Time after time, they tried to get helicopters in to remove him. He lay for 6 hours under the broiling sun on a jungle trail and then died.
Fine, both bodies. There's a teaching point. Make sure the weapon is unloaded. When you get it off, that should do it. You get it unloaded?
Eventually, the enemy weapons become the property of the troopers who killed them, if the troopers want them. Shortly after the firefight, a young North Vietnamese prisoner was brought in. He'd been taught to believe he'd be killed and beheaded.
Check him out and see if he's got a weapon Oh, I'm sorry.
I noticed I'd begun to look at Negro soldiers and not even see their color. I checked this idea with Arkansas.
You look at them and they're just another guy out there. A guy that you can bum a cigarette off of if you're out, or get a drink of water if you're out, or a can of food. Everything is share and share alike.
Arkansas grew up where Negroes must drink from separate fountains. Today, he drinks from the same canteen cup with them. I wondered how the folks back home would feel about that.
Most of them think it's the most terrible thing in the world, you know. They come over here and spend a couple of months, they'd learn it too. Hard way.
Hawkins from Chicago.
After you're with him so long, you're not looking at a man's color. You're looking at his intentions and his job and what he's doing. You look over there and say, well, that man's picking up a shovel. You don't say that black man's picking up a shovel. You don't say, hey, colored sergeant, come here. Or, hey, colored sergeant, can I talk to you?
This old man, bound and hunkered in the rain, claimed the hooch some of us stayed in was his. Maybe it was. This kind of life would seem to have little to recommend it. Yet 3 times as many Negroes re-enlist as whites. Sergeant Larry said,
One of the things that make the Army attractive to me is that being a Negro, I think I'm given every opportunity to develop myself or show what skill I have to the max. I'm given every opportunity to prove beyond any doubt in anybody's mind that I'm a man and I can perform. I think this is a major thing that attracts a lot of us. There's no racial barrier of any sort here.
The men spend a month, sometimes 2 months in the field. Then they pull back to the base camp for a short break. They call it a stand down. Captain Mavrutis had given considerable thought to why so many Negroes make the Army a career.
The Army is one of the few places in our society where a Negro is not ostracized, is not looked down upon. It's a different society within itself. Whereas back in civilian life, a man does not associate with on a 24-hour day basis with the people that he works with. In the service, the people that you work with on a daily basis are also the people that you socialize with day in and day out.
Nowhere in America have I seen Negroes and whites as free, open, and uninhibited in their associations. I saw no eyes clouded with resentment. Arkansas.
Whenever we're on a stand down, the colored and the white boys would go over to a EM club, drink our beer together, or sit down and light up a cigarette. One of them come over, take it out of your mouth and go to puff notes. You know, he don't think nothing about it except, give me back my cigarette, you damn fools.
It's a tradition with the men on stand down to throw all the officers and the senior non-commissioned officers into the ocean. A medical officer told me the salt water helps cure the men's jungle rot. It's the iodine. The young Negro officer, Lieutenant Wilkinson, had some interesting thoughts on the Army as a career.
The advantages for a young Negro as an officer in the Army, he has a status. He has a status. You go back to the civilian world, a Negro officer automatically has a status. Because most people back there, especially Negroes, they look up to a Negro officer because they have not seen that many in the past. And the more they see now, they look at him as if he's really done something.
In a remarkably short time, the deep lines of weariness were fading from their faces. It's one thing to be friends in the field, another to be friends in the rear areas. Captain Mavrutis said,
When they come back on stand down, they do tend to go back to groups of Negroes and whites. I think part of it is that, after being with another individual in the same foxhole for night after night for possibly as long as a month or a month and a half, They just want to get a little variety. I don't think that the groups are formed on the basis of color. I think they're formed on the basis of mutual interest.
This is 1-6 Roger. I'm going to move on over just a little more. There's 2 more hooches, and then that should wrap it up. They're pretty well scattered about here, and we're going to turn around as soon as we check these other 2 hooches over here. Now, you can probably support us from where you are. Just remain in position, and we'll join you there.
Is your location still right 2.2 down 4.1 over?
This is 1-6, negative.
This is 6, Roger. We'll put fires at the base of the hill in that stream bed. You might be able to adjust by noise, over.
This is 1-6, Roger. I think so, too. Either that or dirt mounds. It could be dirt mounds stacked up. That's what it appears to be from here. They have the shape of it.
There were peasant hooches and farm animals in that area. I heard no effort made to keep the artillery fire away from them. Most hooches have caves dug under the floor. Peasants and the Viet Cong hide in them during attacks. Sergeant Wilson had noticed that when the tension ends, a peculiar thing happens.
When the situation has relaxed, the Negro soldier tends to gather together with more people and more enthusiasm than any other group in the Army. The Negro tends to get louder, quicker, and faster, and sustain it until somebody comes by and breaks it up. Charlie can hear it if he's close, and if he hears it, he's got a group to fire at instead of just one man.
The men are always behind enemy lines. From the moment they jump off a helicopter, they're surrounded. Everything, food, ammunition, clothing, must be flown into them. The dead and wounded are flown out. An effort is made to fly in hot chow every 6th day. In the month we were with them, they got hot chow once. On such resupply days, they get mail, newspapers, which might remind them of the race riots in the States. I talked at length with Larry about the race riots. He said,
I don't understand it. I'd ask both my race and the white. How can somebody feel the way they do? I'd see all the stuff on television as what the devil is this? And today I still can't believe it. And if I could find a way to answer my own questions, then I think I would be better off. But right now, I'm confused, and I'm sure a lot of other people are confused. Because I refuse to believe that people just can't live together.
The young Negro officer, Lieutenant Wilkinson.
Some of these people believe just because they get out there and demonstrate and tear this city up and burn this city down, that somebody's going to make an everlasting rule and say, well, okay, this is it. Everybody's the same and the whole problem's solved just by saying those couple of words, but it's not going to happen like that. But they're trying to skip over this so fast that instead of progressing forward, you may be going backwards.
Larry is a Negro who is a leader. I wanted his thoughts on a Negro leader in the States, Stokely Carmichael.
This guy encourages the people to dodge the draft, but what he's saying is that he wants them to dodge being America. He wants them to shirk the responsibility that goes along with being an American citizen. And when I read something like that, the first question that pops in my mind is that this guy doesn't believe I'm an American citizen, and he doesn't want to accept the responsibility that goes along with it. If one American is going to have to fight here, then it should be all Americans. I don't think you can say, well, you're going to have to go to Vietnam and fight because you're white, or you won't have to go because you're colored.
I talked with Wilkinson and Larry, both Negro soldiers, about the concept of black power.
These people that are advocating black power are trying to get there in a hurry, and while they're getting there, they don't care whether or not they step on your face.
I don't think there's such thing as black power or white power. This one-sided thing of black power versus white power, it's nonsense.
I told Larry that in the States today, he would be called an Uncle Tom.
Those that would call me an Uncle Tom, I feel sorry for them. It wouldn't bother me one bit if somebody called me Uncle Tom, because I'd just say it's just another stupid comment from somebody who's narrow-minded.
I told him there was some concern that Negro veterans might return, join militant groups, use their guerrilla training, perhaps become snipers.
I don't believe that one of these boys could go back and get discharged and pick up a sniper weapon and join a mob. I don't believe that he's small-minded enough to go back and utilize this against anyone.
No man goes through a war unchanged. Its sights and sounds are seared into his memory. Life is reduced to its most fundamental values. The true is rapidly sifted from the false. Captain Mavroudis talked about the war's effect on the future attitudes of some white soldiers.
I think the people who were in the group that really discriminated, these people who come over here and really see that the Negro is not everything that their social group said they were, and they'll know that they're not because they've fought alongside with them, and their life in many cases was in the Negro's hands and vice versa. They'll be able to go back to that same social group and tell them that you can feed your lies and your bias from Nattle Doomsday, but I know better.
We had no political scientists, psychologists, or urban affairs experts in our platoon. But they spoke with unassailable authority because they had lived what they were talking about. Hawkins, from Chicago, found himself imagining a race riot in which he might look up and see Sergeant Larry.
If the case ever arises, and I look across and I see Sergeant Larry, he would probably say something like, Hawkins, I never dreamed that someone like you that served under me in Vietnam could actually come back and do something like this. I'd probably cry. I would expect him to draw back and hit me as hard as he could. I would get up and walk away. That's how much I feel towards the man. And I say man, not the colored man. I would feel like a dog. I pray to God this never happens.
And Larry imagined the feelings of a Negro veteran if he should become a sniper in a race riot.
I'm sure if he was standing in that mob or firing at somebody and he had to face one of the people he faced while he was in the Army, he'd probably throw his weapon down and run and hide his face.
Finally, some thoughts from a Southern white boy who grew up in a segregated society, Arkansas.
After I've gone through what I have over here, if a white man tried to get me riled up against the Negro, maybe go through a riot demonstration or something, I think I'd just get mad enough to shoot him, period, and be done with it.
Roger, if I go up to where you are, I'll be going at him in the same direction. I want to try to flank them. That's why I'm asking you what direction you're firing in. It sounds to me like you're firing east, though. What direction are you firing in? I know where the action is. I can hear it, but I want to know what direction you're firing in. I'll come in out of flank, over. And ground attack, too? Yeah, 30 of them. Roger out. So just keep holding at me. I expect we're still ready to move.
A Company was in deep trouble, penned down by heavy fire from North Vietnamese regulars. Our outfit, C Company, Charlie Company, was trying to relieve them. The battle came at the height of a typhoon. It rained 14 and a half inches in 24 hours. The men fought most of that time. Fear is a human instinct, not a racial one. Lieutenant Unger knows it.
You say to a man, there's an enemy machine gun down there, let's go get it. And his heart's going to drop into his stomach, and his throat's going to start to tighten up. I don't care whether he's white, black, blue, red, or green. He's going to be afraid.
From the siege of Troy until now, the same thing has kept soldiers going. Arkansas said it.
Oh, no, it don't seem to bother me, being shot at. I just got it in my mind, hell, I'm not going to get hurt, so I ain't going to get killed, so hell, drive on.
Bravo, this is 6, over. 4-1. That up there? Right, sir. Is he firing out that way? He just got firing out there? Machine gun. Yeah. Was there an incoming fire from there? Fire, sir. What do you say? Just his fire. Okay.
That's the platoon are trying to overrun his whistling.
Okay. What is it? Hey, give me your internal.
I got it now. I got mine on internal. You just take your Maverick Bravo.
2626. This is 6, over. This is Rob. I think I'm there now, but I'm going to try to link up with him. Break. Maverick Bravo. Watch it. Don't fire. Okay. 3 feet, over. Maverick Bravo, this is Gorba, over. That way you can fire that way. Negative. Don't fire this way at all. Don't fire anyway. We're surrounded by 12. Green Hornet Gorba, I've linked up with Maverick Settlement, but I'm trying to find Maverick and try to get things consolidated. Hold up. This is Gorba Bravo. Okay, let's do it. Get him. 14 up there. I'll follow them.
Contact was made with a survivor from A Company. He was wounded, but walking.
Come on, Sergeant Brown. Do the magazine. Hey, Bruce, come here. Come here. Give me bunched up. All right, let's go. Come on, let's go. Stay in the squad. Stay in the squad. Don't bunch it out now. Watch out left and right. No people. Fire yourself up. I had to come out and get dog. Yeah. I left him over. I went out there to get a man. Get him. I got shot in the arm. Yeah. I went there to get him. They were coming on with the position. We have meals over there. I know that.
Keep your eyes up to the front now.
Hollow C! Hollow L! Get up there. Take this go. Let's go. Hey, what are you doing again? Push your RTO. You're supposed to be 100 meters. Get up there. Move! Go ahead, Dale. come back. Spread out. Company! Hot, hot! Ready? Aim. Fire! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire!
Finally, when the time allowed, there was a memorial service for the dead. Some may feel that our society, through the war in Vietnam, is making a terrible demand of the Negro in exchange for accepting him as a man, a human being. But Sergeant Larry feels a debt to the Army.
As a career man in the Army, I have actually too much of military experience to get out. I think I'd be wasting it. I think I would hurt the Army. I think that they can use my experience in the Army. And the younger people that are going to come in, I think they need somebody to help them.
Our history books have taken little notice of the Negro soldier. How do the troops of this war, black and white, want its history written? Captain Mavroudis.
You can't divide them as a group. It's the man. It's not the color. And as far as I'm concerned, the credit for anything that happens in this war, no matter what the outcome is, belongs to both the white and Negro.
Wilkinson, the young Negro officer, told how he would want a child of his to question him about the war.
I would want my child to ask me the role of the American soldier in Vietnam. But as to breaking it down to say, well, we have a total of good deeds by colored soldiers this high, and we have a stack of good deeds by white soldiers this high, I mean, no, I don't think it'll come out that way.
The American Army is fully a generation ahead of the American public in its handling of the races. What the Army has achieved is what America, despite bigots, Negro and white, hopes someday to achieve: the elimination of race as a factor in human existence. The Army has achieved this to such an extent that the men I was with had difficulty in reorganizing their thoughts to match mine and answer questions on a subject they've stopped thinking of. Captain Mavroudis.
The thing that is hard for me to convey is that we don't feel that way in the service. That feeling doesn't exist in the Army. We're all soldiers, and the only color we know is the khaki and the green. The color of the mud and the color of the blood is all the same.
5 days after we left him, Captain Anthony Mavroudis, who believed the color of the mud and the color of the blood is the same, was killed by an exploding landmine.